Mabel, my dearly loved one, I bound myself to serve a pirate captain until I reached my 21st birthday.
But you are 21.
I've just discovered that I was born in a leap year, and that birthday will not be reached by me till 2060.
We have Gloria G. Nudge and Allan MacDonald, both from Savoy Society. Is that correct?
That's right.
Society, yeah. And you guys are going to be presenting very soon a production of Pirates of Penzance.
That is true.
Now, I'm a huge fan of Gilbert and Sullivan. When I was a kid, my parents took me to Stratford all the time, and all we went to see was Gilbert and Sullivan. I saw The Mikado 1,000 times, I saw Pinafore, I saw Penzance, and it's just so much fun to do. Now, tell us a little bit about, for people who may not have seen the show, can you tell us, Allan, a little bit about the show and what it's about and what people might be able to, will expect to see when they go?
Oh yes, it's a show about a young lad called Frederick who's been adopted by pirates, and he's been sort of locked into a long-term contract until he gets out of it, and then breaks free into society and discovers a young lady called Mabel and falls in love with her. And very much it's a struggle between himself as a pirate and all the pirates and the rest of society. Represented by Mabel, the young lady, and the other young ladies and their father, the Major General. And so it becomes ultimately a conflict between the two forces, and ultimately we have police come up against the pirates, and with a great ending.
And it's hilarious. It's very funny. A lot of comedy involved, right?
Yes, it's one of Gilbert and Sullivan's favorite productions, I think, of all time.
And Gloria Jean, there's, you know, this. I think this is a real musical city.
It is.
There are a lot of different things to see here. What are the challenges, would you say, for the performers in a Gilbert and Sullivan piece compared to, say, working on a contemporary musical?
Well, I think that Gilbert and Sullivan used a lot of operatic harmonies, is what I would call it, more of an opera rather than, say, musical theater. And so we're in four-part harmony a lot of the time, and the ladies are two, sometimes more, depending on the moment. but anyway, the big thing about it was back when it was first produced, the orchestra wouldn't play for it without getting opera payment, because they thought that it was not just an operetta, this was actually an opera score. And so I think very much the voices reflect that as well, that it's very much an opera, but it's silly. So like Merry Widow or any of those sort of 1880s, that kind of fun stuff they were trying to do.
Stay, Frederick, stay, they have no legal claim, no shadow of a shame will fall upon my name. Stay, Frederick, stay.
Nay, Mabel, nay, tonight I quit these halls. The thought my soul appalls, but when stern duty calls, I must obey.
Stay, Frederick, stay.
Nay, Mabel, nay.
It must be a lot of fun. I mean, every Gilbert and Sullivan show that I've seen, it looks as if the performers are having a great time, and then the audiences have a great time. Allan, these are huge shows. How many people are involved in this show?
We have 24 actors and a number of people working backstage as well. So it is a big operation. A lot of people have to come together, and that's what we're in the last 2 weeks of putting the show together and making sure it happens.
And how long have you been working on the show?
We had auditions back in January, February, I believe, and we've been running the show in rehearsal for about 3 times a week since then. And so, as I said, it's a show that takes a lot of learning in terms of both dance, singing, and dialogue.
That's a lot of work, and I imagine you two have to work very closely together.
Yes. In more ways than one, Gloria Jean has been my right-hand person.
And we also had to change some of the dialogue because, as you know, Gilbert and Sullivan was to the times, and so we tried to upgrade some of the dialogue to suit our time. So we've added some things that are contemporary, like the upcoming election, that kind of thing. Little things added.
We even have a song dedicated to, or sung by the Prime Minister.
Does that have anything to do with the model of a modern Major General?
In fact, it's we actually sing the original, but then at the beginning of the second act, we come back with a variation on it, as sung by the Prime Minister himself.
That's one of my dreams, is to get to. I'm not a good enough singer, but one of my dreams is to get to do that song. That's so fantastic. Well, it sounds like a great show, and we're really looking forward to seeing it. I can't wait to see it. And maybe before we go, Allan, can you tell us, maybe tell the audience, why should they see this show, and what will they get out of it?
Well, I think Pirates of Penzance, especially the way that we're trying to put it on, is very much of a fun production, and the sheer enjoyment and love of operetta, and the joy of theatre. It's and we put our own sort of slant on it as we're talking with the political. It's also in a very intimate setting at Woodruff United Church, so we're going to be engaging the audience and trying to bring them into the action. So it should be a fun production.
Come and see the Pirates of Penzance, June 12th and 13th at 7:30 p.m. and 14th at 3 p.m.
At Woodruff United Church, just north of Carlingwood Mall. Hope to see you there.
Please check out some of the other segments in this episode, including a couple of segments of Table Talk, where we get to meet some local artists and we can quiz them about all kinds of things, including what kind of superhero they'd like to be.